What is up, guys? Bane Games. We are back. We're gonna have a good time. So I'm gonna do some more of the idle game that I've kind of been working on. But to get started, we want to make sure we hand out our pre-stream bonus bucks for all of those that joined. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you get back over on Twitch and get your free stuff. All right, so a couple things I want to go over. Oh, actually, I think, yeah, I think I might have screwed up. Let me check something here. Haha, oops. I may or may not have forgotten that I'm working on a Twitch bot, and it's kind of on still. Alright, so I killed that. Let's try that again, make sure I'm not getting anything funny happening here. Alright, cool, so we're good there. So what's up, everyone? Hope everyone's having a good time. We're gonna get right into it. So we left off. I did this for two streams. One stream. I don't remember how many. We started off doing everything with linear code, which I mean works. It's not great, but it works. And this doesn't scale, right? This is a problem because this isn't going to scale. Variable management is going to be a nightmare. So the original bad way, we had 153 lines of JavaScript and 52 lines of HTML just to kind of get a baseline. With the new way of doing it, V2, we're at 85 lines of JavaScript, 18 lines of HTML, so we definitely chopped it down a lot. And then just one little V3 optimization, chopped out a couple more lines. And honestly, we can even chop out even more in the JavaScript side. Really, it's only 34 lines worth of code for the JavaScript side to get this much working. And what this much consists of is the whole being able to buy each of these with the new increment adding into your currency each single time. All of that's happening here. All of it. It's all happening there. All of this is the game object. Like, this is actually the game data. So one of the things I thought about is if I wanted to make this, semi-universal, right? If I wanted to make something to the effect of, hey, I just need to make like a CSV or something, or hey, I just need to make like an Excel file and put it somewhere, upload it, whatever it might be, or it's in a database that I can manage in the UI, whatever, just to change things up and make as universal as possible. I kind of want to make this almost like a templating system for idle games. Now, there's a few of those out there, but they're not really as versatile as I'd like. Ortelli is one of them, for example. It's a pretty good one. It's not terrible, but it's really, really old per se. And I want to make this better, and I'm pretty confident that we can. So yeah, so one of the things I want to do is one, I want to expand a little bit more on the math, right? I want to expand a little bit more on the math behind how we want this idle game to work. And then also I kind of want to make this work. I kind of want to start planning this out a little bit in like Excel, for example, to play around with the data objects, to play around with the whole layout and how we want this to work. But in the end, what we're going to do, we're going to kind of give this UI a little bit of an overhaul, read from our config file per se, and go from there. So yeah, I think that's where we will begin. Yeah. All right. Oh, let's see. So I want to do a few things first. I need to get a few things up and running on my other screen here. So let's see what we got cooking. That's not what I wanted. There we go. That's what I wanted right here. So we need to think about how we kind of need to think about how this data is actually going to be attached, right? So if we did something, yeah, that actually wouldn't be bad. Okay, cool. So I'm okay with this. So if I wanted to make, for example, these things are static, right? Like the way that these work is this cost is this no matter what, and that's just always going to be what it is. Down here we have this thing happening to where every time we buy something, it essentially increments the cost by some type of amount. We might not want that. It depends on the type of growth that we want inside of our idle game here. Do we want this to be an idle game, or do we want this to be a clicker game? Now, a lot of people think they're synonymous. To a certain extent, they are. But I beg to differ a little bit, slightly, on how it actually should work. So, if you think about what an idle game is, an idle game is open it up, it's running, minimal interaction, and you're making progress. Okay? A clicker game is more of an active use base. It's dependent on interaction a little bit, while there's still some type of idling mechanic in there. So the whole point of this is the thing that's going consistent across them is time, right? So I thought about taking this idea behind a clicker game, right? And taking what we're doing right now with this Exterminator deal and actually turning this into somewhat of a meta clicker game. To where the point of the clicker game is you're building other clicker games or building idle games, so on and so forth, whatever it might be. Saying, oh, cookie clicker, you're going to build cookie clicker. You have to buy 3 cookie clickers, whatever it might be. But really, that's just all coming down to the game object. This all fun stuff right here. So if I wanted to change, let's say if I wanted to change this to, say, red, right? I can refresh and then, oh look, my button has changed text to red. So again, this game object is the driving factor behind what this is actually doing. So I think to start, it probably makes sense to start with the UI a little bit, kind of overhaul the UI. So I thought a little bit about what kind of UI I actually want to use for this. And I think, now I don't know this 100%, but I think I want to use like Bootstrap. I think I want to kind of start with Bootstrap. So let's go ahead and get Let's go ahead and get I'm gonna get some Bootstrap stuff. I don't want to download it. I just want to use like a CDN for it. Perfect. So we got some CSS. Boom. Let's go ahead and get some crap. I broke it. Go ahead and get some JavaScript happening here. So that's for jQuery, which is vital. We have our Notify.js library, which we still kind of want to use, but then we also have Bootstrap here. So we see slight text changes happening here. So now I kind of want to play a little bit with what I want the layout to be. Right now, nothing is really happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not really doing anything. So I kind of want to get a feel. I need, yeah, I kind of do need to do. All right, so we need to start, just kind of start a little bit down. So this is our old code underneath. Cool. So that's all of our old code. So we know Bootstrap kind of works in the idea of containers. So let's just kind of get one of those started there. Inside our container, we want. We need a nav bar. Like we need some type of nav bar stuff. So let's go ahead and go grab a nav bar. Come on, there's my nav bar. Default nav bar, yay! So literally, yeah, I could literally just do this, right? So what do you give me? Oh, cool, that actually works out well. And that actually should be pretty fluid. Yeah. Cool, so that actually works out well. So inside of our nav bar, okay, which is good. One of the components we want to do is some type of title, right? We need a header, essentially. This is essentially, that's exactly what this is, a header. So let's just take this example, div. Do I need us to be, debating if I need this to be, actually I don't think this needs to be, that makes it style like that. Yeah, I do want this in a container, but I want it to be in a fluid. Now I'm not a pro at Bootstrap by all means. Like I'm not that awesome at anything. So if we want to think a little bit about how I want this to lay out, I want this to start here. We're gonna want some type of header in there for the title. So if we look at the Bootstrap components to see how this is working, see how we have this brand thing right here. Where's that at? That is right here. So if I just toss it in there and say game. Yeah. Okay. I'm fine with that. Because this will essentially be a variable later. Not right now, obviously. We're not going to do that right now. But again, we're just starting to kind of clean up our UI a little bit to see. So next thing we kind of want to do, I should probably put a, I don't really want to put a version number in there, do I? I don't think it would hurt. That wouldn't hurt. So if I did something like, I don't know if sub's the one I want. Sub's not what I want. I forgot what it's called in Bootstrap. Subtext. Oh, small is what it's called. Gotcha. No, that's definitely still. Oh wait, maybe let's do it inside here. Okay, that makes more sense. So small slash version v0.0.1. Hey, we have a thing. Yay. Yeah, it's not really anything special. Like, not even close to special. So we just gotta keep going. I get rid of some of the stuff I got open on my screen. You're that. You're this. You're important. I need to keep you. Not so important. Yeah, that stuff can all go away. All right, cool. Cleaned up the desktop a little bit, so now I'm working much better at this. So the way we need to kind of work this is something needs to be incrementing, right? If we want this to be not really necessarily an idle game, but we want this to be some type of incrementing right off the bat, right? So something needs to actually happen right away. But where is that supposed to happen, right? That's kind of the big thing. So let's think about how we want our layout to look. This stuff technically isn't visible yet, right? That doesn't exist. So really what we should be doing, we should have some type of tabbed interface here to kind of play around with that. So let's go ahead and bring this over a little bit. Let's see. Probably, yeah, tabs would actually probably be just fine. So if I literally just copy this right now. Yeah, that actually would work. All right, cool. So that actually would work decently well. We need to understand. I'm trying to figure out if this is going to be single page. It would have to. It would kind of have to be single page, right? Yeah, it would kind of have to be single page. So let's play a little bit with how our container should really be laid out here. So that's going to be in a container. Now again, I don't know the proper Bootstrap layout of things, so I'm just kind of going with it. Because this should essentially give me the exact same thing, which it does. So then again, the way this works is by active, that's default, and then if I click on it, it's going to change that to being active. So we need some type of currency, right? We need some type of currency. So if we wanted to, again, we're gonna make it up as we go. So if we have this home tab, which is fine. If the home tab is really going to be more of an upgrade tab, right? So right now we have the farm button that's incrementing our currency. By default, we should probably start with the currency already incrementing. So we can kind of do that already. So in our default currency, we could set that equal to 0, which is fine. And then in our step function, we should actually increment yeah, I guess we could just do plus plus. Yeah, we can just do plus plus. So if we have this step thing already happening, right, which is good. So every second our incremental step is already happening. So one of the things we might want to do is actually get this to display somewhere else. So one of these things is maybe let's put it on our we'll make our messages tab going to be our currency deal, just because we can. Okay, so we have this list item. Yeah. So this is going to be class currency. Yeah, really just like that. So inside of our step function again, which we have happening here, rather than doing the text currency count, what we can actually do is do. So again, we're going to clean this up now. We can say currency.text game.currency. So now we have in here, in our update function, we have that happening here. So again, we need to understand what the unit of currency is going to be. I am going to make that, we'll just call it chips for right now. I'm gonna make it a game object, like an element in the game object for right now. And then the other thing, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to split this apart. We do have this currency class here, but I want to kind of play with this, so I want to do a span. I need to change that damn color because that's really annoying. So if I just put something in there to start, okay, cool. So this is actually going to be, wow, our currency span. But then the other thing, what I want to do, let's put another one here for currency label. And then what's going to end up happening is on load, right? So once it's actually ready, we'll go ahead and do our currency label dot text game dot currency label. So rather than, so there's a couple things behind this, right? So rather than trying to think the right way to explain this, rather than say, oh, hey, on every step function, I want to update my currency label, but at the same time, I also want to do plus game.currency label here. This isn't going to change, right? This doesn't change during the game, so there's no reason for that to have to be redrawn to the screen. So instead I'm saying, no, I just want to make that default already there, and then we'll just kind of leave it alone, and we'll be good to go. So we have that working, which is good. So again, now we need to understand a little bit more behind the math. So what are we trying to actually do, right? What's the actual game mechanic going to be? Personally, I thought I liked the idea of the whole trap stuff, which is fine. I mean, it's a good proof of concept to get some of the logic down to understand. But I'm not sure if that's going to be the end result yet. So I kind of want to think a little bit more about that. So we should be thinking something like, we have these chips, we have these units, whatever they are. We need to build something. Actually, you know what? Let's get out of here. Let's do atoms. I like the idea of atoms. So we're collecting atoms, right? In this first iteration, we're collecting atoms. I need to be able to spend them on something, right? That needs to happen. I need to be able to use them for something. I need to consume them, right? So let's say something like, one of the things we might have is, oh, hey, in order to actually, you know what? I have a better idea. We could actually do this. We could say we're actually collecting quarks. And then we also have, yeah, okay, I have a better idea. Okay, I have a better idea now. Let me pull up Excel. Okay, so hear me out. If we're collecting quarks, this is going to be ever incrementing, right? That's the whole point of that, is that's our base currency, increments one every whatever second, which with a multiplier based on a few things, like based on the ability to upgrade something or whatever it might be. Yeah, I think that would actually work out pretty good. Okay, so with quarks, that's our unit. Next thing we want to be able to do with the quarks, right? We need to be able to build something out of them. So we need a spendable currency. Both of these things are spendable, but they're just going to have atoms then, right? So quarks increment. So quarks are going to increment every step. Atoms are used for spending So then we need things that we can buy. No, yeah, we do need to spend. Yeah, so we need to spend atoms to actually get things back into the system. So quirks are going to be happening all the time, no matter what. So one of the things we might want to buy with atoms is a proton pack. I don't really care. And the attribute of a proton pack is this adds 2 atoms, right? So I might spend whatever it might be. So I might spend something like 20 atoms and 10 quarks. All right, so that might cost 20 atoms and 10 quarks. And the result of this, well, it's going to produce whatever. So this might produce 1 atom per second. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I think that would actually work. I'm thinking. Yeah, I actually think that would actually work out pretty well. Yeah, I think that'll actually work out pretty well. So if we use quarks, which is going to be our incremental every step, atoms are going to be used for spending, and then we have all these different things we can spend on. So proton packs, for example. So that's essentially our level 1 item. Level 2 item might cost us something else. Then each level of these things are also going to have upgrades available to it, which would cost more money, for example. So an upgrade available for one of these might be something along the lines of, oh, hey, actually an upgrade for quark. Yeah, okay, I get it now. It seems really convoluted, but I'm understanding more of what I want this to actually be. Yeah. Okay, cool. This will actually work out pretty well. So we have quarks, which is cool. Let's go ahead and get rid of this because we don't need that. We need this to change, and instead of being currency, this is going to be, well, really that is currency, and then this is more, I'll just say spendable. Spendable and spendable label. So again, we want to kind of spendable by default might have something like 20, just to kind of kickstart it. Spendable label is going to be atoms. Cool. So again, we need to get our default stuff working. So we have our spendable label, object, and then in our step function, spendables updated. Boom. So we start with 20 atoms, and quarks are incrementing, which is awesome. Yay. So one of the things we can actually do is actually start removing this. This no longer needs to be there. And this should still work just fine. We're gonna get some. We should actually be getting some errors. No, we're not gonna be getting any errors. Why not? It's just not gonna happen. All right, so we can get rid of that. What else can we get rid of? Currency count. Okay, cool. So nothing in there for there, which is good. So we eliminated that. So this is happening. Farm is just incrementing quarks, right? We don't want to do that anymore. This is going to be an always incrementing thing, so the ability to farm is going to go away. So let's go ahead and get rid of the functionality behind the clicker. So if we go over here, clicker, all this is literally doing is saying, oh yeah, we're going to go ahead and run the step function and increment our current click. So that can all go away. So we still have this incrementing here, which is good. So for example, if I wait 10 seconds, whatever it might be, we should still be able to buy an ant trap. Right now we can't because there's not enough, which is good. So we boom. Hey, look, what do you know? It's actually incrementing. The percentages, we're currently uplifting these. I don't want to do that. I don't want to actually increase the cost every single time. What I'd rather do is alter the multiplier behind it so that I'm actually sticking with whole numbers of quarks, because it doesn't make sense to have 0.41 quarks in the system. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to do it like that. So there's a few things that we need to do now. I don't want all of this stuff to be here. I want to be able to switch between these two pages. So we need to kind of get single page app stuff working in Bootstrap. Now I don't know how to do that yet, so we're gonna learn that. We're gonna figure that out right now. So if I did something, let's see, Bootstrap single page application with navbar. Let's just literally do that. Response to navbar class, blah 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 blah. Examples. I like that. Well, let's go here. You are not helpful. You lie to me. So this, I'm assuming Bootstrap does single page, right? How does tabs work in Bootstrap? How do tabbed pages work? Pills, pages, tabs, pages? No, if I click on it. See, I don't want to, the problem is I don't want to have to, all right, let's go see what this is doing here. So the problem that I have with this is I don't want to have to show and hide crap all the time, right? So I want to actually do, oh, is it panels? It might be panels. Okay, yeah, it's panels. That's what I want. Standard tab panel created on using Bootstrap. Notice the gap between content, solution, add clear fixed tab. Okay, cool. Okay, so I understand what this is doing now, so that's much better. So what is this doing? It's a container, nav pills, okay, li active, a overview, boom. This goes to that. So where are you? Tab content ID 1A. Oh, so I bet you if I change this and run it, how do you run this? Fork. Yeah. So if I change this to 3A, that no longer works. If that goes back, I can swap back and forth. Okay, that makes more sense. Cool. So I actually want, what I want to do is do tabs. No, panels, where that? Yeah, panels. So let's just test it out real quick. So if I go over here and I create a new panel, and we'll call it test. This active one is going to be test. And this one is going to be test 2, basic panel example 1. Paste. paste. Basic panel example 2. Oh, they're both already visible though. Why is that? Oh, because this needs to be, okay, because I'm in the wrong spot. This needs to be tab pane. That's what that is. Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. So the way that this actually works is it's going to go like this. I'm going to have my div tab content there. Then I'm going to create another div tab pane active ID1. ID2. Test1, test2. Right, so now I see test1. So now if I come over here and say that's going to be 2, that's going to be 1. Nope. What's my nav look like? Oh, div toggle. I didn't do any of this yet. So that needs to happen. So I need to do data toggle of tab. Where's that? That goes into li element, yeah? No, this goes in the anchor element. All right, so let's run back over here. So we can go to our anchor element here. And I can do data toggle tab, data toggle tab. There we go. So now we can switch between test 1, test 2, so which is good. So now we can actually kind of start cleaning this up a little bit. So one of the first things is I want to clean up the content of this. I don't think I want to put this in containers. I think what I do want to do, oh, that's hard, man. Oh wait, my div tab content didn't finish. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, cool. So I can run back and forth between these things now. So inside of our test 1, test 2, we can actually do other things now. So one of the things I might want to do is actually get a page working. So we have this panel here. So yeah, we have this panel, or we have this test thing here. Right? I had some celery earlier and I got stuck in my tooth and it's freaking annoying. I'm thinking how we want to lay this out. I'll be right back. I can grab some more water. All right, so we have this thing consistently increasing, which is fine. So what happens when I want to buy something, right? So let's just say we're gonna do some type of let's put a side menu over here of things I can buy. Will side menu work? Yeah, let's do a side menu. I kind of like that idea. Side menu. Yeah, okay, we're gonna do it like that. So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna not have a panel. We're gonna get rid of this. Get rid of that. Inside of this thing, we're gonna do a side panel, like it's basically gonna be a side-by-side menu here. So let's go to yeah, that actually would work. Really, actually, what I want to do is use the grid. I want to use the grid because it's going to be something like a column D4 and then an MD8. But it's not gonna be rows. It just needs to be columns. Like this whole thing is that's just how it works. All right, so let's Google side menu and content. It's close. So I want to understand how this is actually coded. Okay, yeah, whatever. I get it. Gotcha. Oh, okay, I didn't realize I can use that too. Alright, I'm good with that. I'm happy with this. Alright, so what we can do, we're going to set up our panel, or we're going to set up our container. So we have this container actually already here. So the next, what did I do? Oh, apparently F5 refreshes brackets, which is kind of cool. So we have this panel here. So this is going to be our, let's call it page 1. So where's our thing? Page 1. So we have our container, which is gonna house what this is. We're gonna have our sidebar, which is essentially gonna be this stuff, right? Like what we can actually upgrade. So the first thing we need to do is actually build that menu structure. So if we want to go here, and if I want to do this, let's just copy that. Let's just paste it in here to start. Oh, I need my... Yeah, I need these guys. Okay. Get that stuff in there. So right now the problem is this is full, like full width, right? We don't want that. And also what I want that to be not like that. I need this to be the same. So what's my, this is a container fluid, right? This is a container fluid. Should this not be here? No, it should be like this, right? Okay, that's better. So now what we need though, I need to lock this to be a certain number, a certain amount, right? So let me see how that needs to work. if I did something like this, let's say div class cal md4, that does. Okay, interesting. So if I can actually change that now. No, I still want that. What's my grid for that? So if I run through the grid, yeah. Desktops, this is the average colMD. If I did colMD4, yeah, I want to do 4 and 8, right? Yeah, we'll just do 4 and 8. colMD4, boom, and then we're gonna have colMD8, boom. We'll put something else in here. Let's put like a panel in here. I'm on the wrong thing. Come on, man. Panels. Just shove that in there. Okay, so that gives us that. Okay, that actually isn't that bad. That's actually pretty doable. Okay, cool. I'm happy with this so far. So we have this thing happening. We have this panel stuff here. This doesn't necessarily need to be like that. Like if this was all the way big, that's excessive. You know, this whole thing can be shrunk in a little bit. So I actually think we can not do container fluid. Let's actually do yeah, I like that a lot better. Regular containers for things. Yeah, I'm good with that. I don't like the spacing on that though, so let's understand how that stuff works. CSS. Oh, I could use tables for that. I guess I don't really care about that. Alright, so we have a grid. How does this work for spacing though? Aha. So if we did something like that, thinking a little bit how this would work. Okay. So if I got rid of this, that pulls that out there, but then what I could do shove that back in there. So that still works. Okay, this is actually doable. I actually think this is doable. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with this. Yeah, I think I'm good with this. So one of the things I want to do is start getting these buttons to actually be over here and iterate through. So let's probably do that. Yeah, so let's get that working. So we have these nav pills, which is fine. What do I want to call this? Spendable vertices, I guess. I don't know. I don't freaking know what the hell we're gonna call it. So we know that's the structure we need for it. And we want to add one at the end no matter what, which is going to be our spending items, right? Which is essentially what we actually can spend on. And I think what I want to do is do like text and then a justify thing to the right. So how do I do justification on this? I don't want to do labels. I just need to do a span. So I want to do inline adjusted thing, like left right column type thing. You know what I mean? No. Trying to think of the right way to find this here. Actually, you know what? How is this working? Because this is actually what I kind of want, right? Oh, this is just, that's actually cells. All right, well, we'll try it. Where's our alignment again? It's p tags. So how about we do spans and do that? Text left and text right. So if I did something in here, so there's profile, yeah, whatever, span, text right, say test. That absolute crap. So that is saying text align right, but how is that? Nope, that ain't right. Okay, so bootstrap UL left and right column, left and right text in li element. Ooh, what do we got here? What's this nonsense? Nope, that ain't what I want. So actually, let's take it one step further, or one step smaller. We have an li, which is fine. So I have this li element. We're essentially going to have two, I don't want to say paragraphs, but it's two labels. One's an anchor link. Technically, the whole thing's an anchor link, but inside the anchor link, it's going to be comprised of two things, right? So bootstrap text left and right, same line. This sounds like I'm not the only one that has this problem. Pull left, pull right. All right, let's look and see what this is doing. Oh, I get it. So it's like fast floats. All right, I don't want to do, I mean, I don't want to do that because that's going to be with that. What I should be doing is that's a tough one, man. So actually, if I take this guy, this just shoves that in there. What I can do though, like instead of doing this, if I did pull left, pull right, and that's why I can't use it in the nav items, because that's going to screw up the floating on it. Alright, so we don't want to do that. If I change that to a p tag, I really don't want that to be like that. But then what I could do, well, that doesn't do shit for that. Oh, that sucks. Okay, I gotta figure out how this works. For right now, I'm not going to. For right now, it's literally just going to be all the text scoot over. I'm getting too fancy with it. All right, so we have this happening. Yeah, whatever. So the way we kind of want this to work, like the structure for this, is going to be the text of the item followed by the current count of them, right? So we need a function to loop through and actually do that, which is essentially going to be our step function, right? So every time to start, right, the step function is going to run and it's going to say, oh yeah, we're going to start updating this thing. The step function doesn't have to actually run to update the whole item. It's really more of a setup thing, just to kind of get it started. So we can kind of do that in the setup portion here. Right now we're doing this, right? We're saying, oh, we're going to go append a button and do this thing. Really what we're going to do, let's go ahead and do another appendage. We're going to go here. We're going to say the spendable purchases, whatever. We're essentially going to append one of these. Right? This is essentially what we're doing. We're going to append a li element into the mix. And inside the li element, we're going to say put I in there just because we can. So if we run this now, we see that actually working already. Like that's already happening, which is good. One of the layers we might want to do is say, oh yeah, well we really only want to show the resources that we have eligibility for. But right now we're not gonna play with that. We're not gonna play with that thought in there quite yet. And let's get our last one working. So if we notice we have this profile here and then we have this happening, what I want to do is, let's get rid of that. Yeah, this is gonna be our, I guess it could be our first one. There's no reason why it can't be our first one. Yeah, this can be our first one, that's fine. So I want to do two spans in here. So first the span class is going to be, ooh, actually, you know what I can do? I can just copy this and it's gonna happen automatically, right? How, kind of. No, that's right. Yeah, that is right. Cool, so that's working. So I want this to actually be, yeah, that actually does work pretty well. Yeah, okay, I'm good with this. So that essentially takes care of all of this side of things, right? So next would be the actual display, like moving this stuff that's here over to the panel of each of these. So even though we have this, which is the incremental version of the quarks, right? We need to be able to buy these things. So it's going to have some type of data. So we're going to have a panel essentially that's going to load the data for each one of those things. So if I think about how that would work, can I do this with one panel and then dynamically load the panel based on what I select? So there's going to be upgrades. Yeah, I think I can get away with that. I think we can fix this though. Let's make that 3. Make that 9. Kind of don't like the whole collision of this though. Is there something on there I can use that's not a panel? What can I make that something else? I don't really want to do a heading. How do I want to do this? It just needs to be a page. How the hell does that work? How do you work? What are you, sir? What are you? Oh, wait, what? I didn't know that. Flash kind of nice. All right, back to this. How do I want this to work? No. This needs to be a page. How do I do a sidebar page? I don't want it to be a panel, right? That's not what I'm looking for. How the hell you work, bro? I mean, it's kind of just its own container, right? Is that how that works? Is it its own container? I think that's how it works, but I'm not 100% positive. Div class container, yeah. We put stuff in there. Let's put a header in there. Page header. What happens if I do that? What is that gonna? Is it gonna break something? Oh, that is how I want it. Okay. Man, that's so confusing. That's still a lot of like padding though. That's okay. All right, so if I understand this, I have a container. Check. Yay. What are the properties of this container that's making it do? That's what I thought. So it's adding the padding. Okay. I understand the layout here. So I have this root container, right? Which is essentially, again, I don't know Bootstrap the proper layout for how this should actually be working. So I'm kind of just approximating to start and then cleaning up after the fact. So again, we evolved our game from bad JavaScript to better object-oriented JavaScript to fixing the UI to dynamically generate something rather than these buttons that are static. And so then the next thing we can do from there is get per page, right? Something to actually generate something there, I think. Yeah. So now again, theoretically, if I go into my game object and I do this logic here, shove that in there, so each one of these should have a thing attached to it. It does. Cool. So theoretically, if I now find this, count that, okay, yes, this is actually working. So if I click on this, so now what I need to do is on my, so I have a buy function, right, which is the click, which isn't quite what I'm looking for. What I actually want to do, let's change this to say load item detail, just for the sake of it. So if I say load item detail dot click, boom. I need to be able to get the actual item first off, so we're gonna say item is equal to this dot attribute thing. So now what I should be able to do is say, oh, okay, well I have this single page entity already happening, right? That's, we're just gonna call it page header, so let's just give this a class test, because we need to understand how this works. Theoretically, I should be able to do something like this and say dot test dot text can be equal to game resources thing, no, item, sorry, not thing. Item dot actually just item, right? Yeah, just item, because I don't want to do the cost or anything yet. So if I go back over here, yeah, so that's the emulation of the different pages. All right, cool. This is much better. Yeah, I think this is it's much more doable. All right, so now we can actually clean this up even further now. Let's move our cost and count over into this page. We don't need this. So if I just put a regular P in here, what does this do? Oh, I don't want that there though. That's the page header. Okay, so this is going to be our cost. What's the other one? Count and cost, sorry. Count, cost, span, class equals, what do I want to call this? Item count, I guess. Does it matter? I don't think it matters. Item cost. All right, so we have this thing. I can click on it. It takes me there. Ant count. So I need to populate the values. So again, how is this working? We have this happening here, and so then the next thing we need to do is actually load item count dot text is going to be game dot resources item dot count item cost dot text game dot resources item dot cost. Perfect. So now we need to initiate a buy button. Right, we need to initiate how our button should actually be working here. So let's go find, I want a button that takes up the full, I guess that kind of does work. If I take this, what happens if I put, how does that work? I'll just copy that. I want to put this here. Okay, so there's 3. If I get rid of 2, it does. Okay. Awesome, bro. That's freaking sweet. All right, cool. So now what we can do is we have a button. Yeah, whatever. Buy 1. Whatever. Buy. I think I already have a class for buy item in here, don't I? Dot buy click, right? Attribute thing cost this parent. So if I click buy 1 right now, it's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about because I can't read the cost of something. Yeah, whatever, which is fine. So again, we need to understand what this actually is. So we need to give this, an attribute of something, right? We need to actually give that something. So if I do this, and then over here, we have this thing. I'm trying to think what's the right way to do this. I don't want to have to attach the thing attribute to the button every single time. I should just know that the current active thing is there. Yeah, I think that's fine. Is that fine? I think that's fine. So if I say, like, right, see how I have this var item, right? So what I could do is something along the lines of saying, I don't have to do a game object for it though, because that would just get hairy if I did it like that. But it would work. That would absolutely work. Let's just do this. Var page equals null. Okay, when I click on an item, Page is equal to item. Is that still defined, or is that gonna be like, what? Alright, so now if I iterate page, okay, cool. So now what I literally should be able to do console.log page. Why you broke, bro? Yeah, why you broke, bro? By.click function. What are you doing, bro? Oh, I have it by one, that's why. Same thing, whatever. By one. If you function is a by. Okay, cool. So that actually would work. All right, sweet. So now what I can do, I can start working on the functionalizing of resources. So one of the things that I need to understand is, just for right now, again, just for right now, we could just say, oh yeah, game resource matches, da 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 da, I'm happy with it. We can go from there. So if I'm saying by one, let's just increment at one to start. Right? Let's just make that happen. Okay. So if I say game.resources page.count plus plus, boom. See how that increments, and it's one now. And we have that working. Okay, cool. So that actually is working. So that is good. The next thing that needs to happen is what? The next thing that happens is the values on the page. Oh, why is it all weird? That's weird. Why is this all big over here and then not over there? What happened to you, dude? Something happened. All right, well, something's wrong with the layout, but that's okay. Oh, I get it, because container's saying this width, but really it's not that width, it's something else. Okay, I get that. So, which is good. So we have this happening, I can click it, boom. It's incrementing, we see that our stuff is increasing. So really, this is all done. All this code is now gone. This doesn't need to be here. We do need to rebuild some of the functions that we have, though. So let's go ahead and over here, we can get rid of all this stuff, which means all of that can go away now. And then over here, we can get rid of this functionality. All that can go away, which means this can disappear as well. This part should stay a little bit. Should that part stay a little bit? Nah, this can go away. This is the loop of the that part needs to stay though, but this part doesn't need to. Yeah. That actually wouldn't work either. Yeah, this is going away. Sorry, bro. All right, cool. So we're good there. So we have this thing still incrementing, which is fine. I can click on this and something happens where I'm actually incrementing it, which is good. Now the math isn't happening to say, oh yeah, cool, whatever. It's actually going to increase this now. So that I think we can do again later. We'll see. Yeah, that's not bad at all. So we kind of converted, now again, to kind of show the evolution of it. We went from bad JavaScript linear stuff with lots and lots and lots of linear duplicate code to better JavaScript object-oriented code to cleaning up the UI to using a framework to get us to this step here. And then on top of that, getting us to the ability to utilize better game objects. So next, I think what we'll do is keep working on the game object thing, but also try to build out the path a little bit more on what I'm actually buying. What's the end game, right? I want this to be one of those games where you can ascend and do stuff, so I need to understand a little bit more about that. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna leave that one here. This is a good episode. This is good. We got a lot of stuff done. We got the UI kind of figured out. There's still a lot more UI cleanup we need to do, and a lot more UI expansion we need to do, but it's better than nothing. So good start. That was fun. I'm probably gonna switch over to game stream soon, so hopefully see you there. As always,